Grace and peace, everybody. Grace and peace. Hopefully, you are having a fantastic Friday. I know I am. I was checking the traps this morning and I found something. So, guess what? You saw the thumbnail, you saw the title, you know what we're about to do. So, let's get at it. I got to be consistent, everybody. I have to be. If I call out Fonnie Willis, if I call out Joe Biden, if I call out Alvin Bragg, I got to call out Trump as well. The church is off limits. It needs to be a big old sign, no politicking in the church. So I got to call them out. I got to. So Wednesday, Trump had a rally at Dream City Church in Arizona. Now, before you jump in there and jump all over my head, I understand that was on a Wednesday. That's not on the Lord's Day. They were just using the church. I totally get your point. I already know that you're going to say that. I knew it. However, it's still inappropriate. I'm going to go on a limb and say that it's still inappropriate to do a political rally even. And though I think it was kind of neat that he did a town hall and he allowed people to ask questions, I thought that was kind of neat. Again, I don't think it needs to be done in Christ's church. It's really that easy. The church is off limits to politicians. That's just it. I don't even understand why we need to have an argument about this. So I said that if Biden did it, it's wrong. Fonnie and Nathan did it, it's wrong. All of that. I said that it's wrong for them to do it. It's wrong for Trump too. It's wrong. It's wrong. And now, granted, I do believe that this is the church that had. Hold on one second. I do believe that this is the church that had Trump in it in 2016, I believe it was. Like they brought him up on stage to pray for him. I got problems with that too, but we can have that discussion on another show. But this right here is just an outright political rally. So there's no ifs, ands, or buts about what it is. It's an outright rally. And I think it's wrong to do this. So let's look at it. I want to hear what you think about it. I'm not going to be super long. So let me mute us over here. Oh, yeah, let me put my hat on so people know who I am. All right. Let's get at it. Let's go.
No offense, but if you still think stocks, real estate, or crypto are the best passive income investments in today's economy,
because it represents the sun. It's nice and sunny.
All right, let's see this.
You got thousands of people outside.
Oh no, this is the long one. I'm sorry, this is even long. This
I don't know about.
This is the full rally. We're not gonna do the full rally. No sir, no sir. I'll be right back. That was a typo. Sorry about that. I just wanted to bring in like a little snippet of it. Sorry about that. But it was like an hour and a half, almost 2 hours long. I'm not gonna do a 2-hour rally right now. I don't think most of us have that time on a Friday. So let me pull in just the shorter version of it. Un momento, por favor. That's the extent of my Spanish, by the way. And now this was in a church in Arizona. Again, I totally understand. I totally get it, but I don't think that it's appropriate for politicians to be in the Lord's church, even though I probably have some doctrinal issues with Dream City Church. I probably have some doctrinal issues. I do think that having a rally in the church is going to be problematic and it creates way more problems than it solves. So therefore, having it is not a good look. So let me, I have no idea why my clip disappeared. That's why I had that long one. That's what happened. All right, let's do this one right here. Sorry about that. So I do think that that's going to be problematic. So I would love to hear what you all think. You know, I'm trying to be consistent. I called out Fonnie because Fonnie stays in churches. Nathan Wade, he hasn't been in church, I'm sorry. Alvin Bragg was in a church, of course. We've seen Joe in a church as well. I don't know if he knew he was in a church, but we've seen Joe Biden in churches and such of that nature. So I want to be consistent and say that this is wrong for Joe. It is wrong for Kamala, is wrong for Nancy Pelosi, is wrong for even people that I might ideologically agree with, the church is off limits. That's it. So let's just pull this in. We're going to just do this quick article then, because it will not allow me to download the link that I was looking at. That's what the problem was. So appreciate you all stopping by this early in the morning. Just a little quick review, if you will, a little quick conversation. All right, let's go have some fun. So
Arizona today. He's hosting a town hall right here in Phoenix.
This will be his first public campaign appearance since a week ago when he was convicted on those felony counts in New York. Danielle Miller live from the Dream City Church near Cave Creek and Sweetwater.
Well, good morning. This is where it is all happening here today. You can see the line is growing at this hour as people are waiting to get inside the church hours before that this event even starts here. So the town hall doesn't start until 2 p.m., but attendees will be able to start getting into the church at 10 o'clock this morning. And you can see a few dozen people out here already. Definitely parking lots filling up. The actual parking lot of the church is not yet open at this time. We're told that that's going to open about 8 o'clock this morning before those people can get into the church at 10 o'clock this morning. Turning Point Action, a conservative political action committee with close ties to the former president, is hosting this event here. It will be a town hall, so voters will be able to ask questions to the presumed Republican presidential nominee. Trump was actually scheduled to appear at the AZ GOP Freedom Fest here at Dream City Church back in late February, but he pulled out due to a court appearance in a defamation trial in New York, leading to the event's cancellation. Trump's visit now comes after his felony conviction in a hush money case in New York. It is not clear what he may say about that trial because he is still under a gag order barring him from making any type of comment about witnesses, jurors, and others tied to the case until his sentencing that is happening on July 11th. Also, Trump will continue to campaign after this appearance in Phoenix today with a stop for the rally in Las Vegas that is scheduled for Sunday afternoon. So if you want to come back out here live to us, you can see the line continues to grow, stretching kind of around the corner here this morning, and it is a lot of people out here. We did talk to one woman. Her name is Nancy. She came all the way from Yuma, Arizona to make it here. She's been here since overnight.
I'm so excited. This is a once in a lifetime chance, you know, in history. So
okay.
And yeah, a lot of other people out here doing the same thing as Nancy. They are waiting in line, ready to get into the church here early this morning. We're told that the parking lot opens at 8 o'clock this morning. The doors to the church, 10 o'clock, and the actual event is scheduled to kick off at 2 o'clock this afternoon. We'll have much more on this coming up on later editions of Fox 10, so stick with us all morning long as well as later on this evening. Guys, we'll send it back to you.
All right, so that was the
one person killed in a crash involving a number of vehicles.
Oh my! All right, so that was it. That was just a summary of it, if you will. It's long. I mean, it was. I mean, I watched a little bit of it. It was kind of. I mean, it was enjoyable. I mean, Trump is. He's just a comedian, in my opinion. He's a comedian. So the way he addresses things is very comical. But again, I don't think, and I want to say again, that the purpose of the church is not for politicians. The purpose of the church is to edify and build up the community of those who Christ has called out of the world, that they might become more like him. So I realize that, again, it was not on a Sunday. I realize that it was not on the Lord's Day or during a service and whatnot. And I mean, let's just be honest, that building is humongous, right? So I'm sure and because they're friends of Trump and they support Trump, I'm sure they probably gave it to him at a deal in order to get this many people in. I understand all of those pragmatic things. However, the church is still off limits. The church, even though doctrinally I got some problems with Dream City Church, I would say the exact same thing if Stacey Abrams was doing a political rally at New Birth. I would say the same thing. I would say the exact same thing if some politician was here at North Point. The church should be off limits to politicians. What do you do with members that maybe are ideologically different than the church's stance on a matter. Like, for example, this church seems to be very pro-Trump, which is perfectly fine with me. It seems like the membership probably is okay with it as well. But what about those members maybe that are not? Maybe you have independents. Maybe you do have Democrats in your congregation. I'm not as far as people saying Democrats should be put on church discipline or something crazy like that. So I think that the church making a political stance does create more problems than it needs to in the long tail, in the long game. Having that is going to be a problem. So again, and hear me, I think Trump is comedic. I think the guy, hold on, I got to pull up one clip. I think the speech was actually pretty funny. And I think he has some good ideas. I think he's far better than what we currently have. All of that stuff. I'm right there with you, trending right along with you. All I'm saying is that the church need not be the place that you do that. Now, I'm pretty sure he probably got a sweetheart deal to have that rally there. It was probably very financially beneficial and whatnot, probably. I'm just assuming. So let me pull this one in real quick. Okay, let me pull this in. All right. I mean, this is just a clip from off X. Here we go.
But we're going to win the great state of Arizona, and we're going to tell crooked Joe Biden, you're fired. You're doing a lousy job, the worst job.
That's a lot of
worst
people.
President in history. Joe, you're fired. How did he do today? Does anybody have a report? Oh, gee. But we're going to win the great state of Arizona, and we're
just the way I'm sorry, man. Trump is the funniest thing cooking. I don't care what y'all say. The guy is comical. And I'm fine with it. I just think that, again, and I'm not even, I think this is the reality that the church is off limits. So you could have this rally, and I don't think there's anything wrong with having a rally. I mean, the one in the Bronx was outside. Perfect. Was it like on a Tuesday or something? And so, perfect. Y'all could have had this outside or had it somewhere else. Well, wait, it wasn't Arizona. And it'd be hot out there in Arizona. So it could have just been somewhere else. The church is off limits. What do y'all think? Let's see what you got in the comments. Thank you so much for listening this morning. We need to stop having politicians in church. William Dillard says, I agree 100%. I'm glad to be here. Was looking at documents and stuff and got the notification. Let's hear for notifications. Notifications is the MVP. Hopefully everybody's starting to get those notifications. I'm trying my best to make sure. Now, granted, this one was literally planned 25 minutes ago. So if you didn't get the notification, I totally understand it. Listen to what Miss Underwood says. Totally agree, DWC. It's off limits. Hey, y'all, there she is. My favorite Susie Q in the building, Y'all remember to hit that like button. I know it's early in the morning, so hit it easy. So go easy on it. I agree. Thank y'all so much. Okay, so here is a scenario that I want to hear what you think. What do you think? Let's just pretend that Donald Trump came to your church this Sunday. And let's just say he was sitting in the congregation. He was not on the diocese. He's not on the pulpit. None of that stuff. He's just literally sitting in church. He came to your church and just came. He's in the area and came to your church. Okay. Now, your pastor does a regular pastoral prayer, and you're looking familiar. You're looking forward to the normal pastoral prayer. Your pastor, during the pastoral prayer, prays for Donald Trump, and that's it. He, asks the Lord to be with him, keep him strong and healthy. Most importantly, help him to come to saving faith, so on and so forth, and that's it. He doesn't give any fanfare. There's no Donald Trump is in the building. Nobody's standing up and clapping. None of that stuff. He's basically just an average person in your congregation. Do you have a problem with that? So I'm just wondering, would you have a problem with Donald Trump coming to your church, just sitting in the pew, singing? He's there the whole service, by the way. So he's not just coming in and leaving. He's been there at the beginning. Maybe it was even at Sunday school. I don't care. But he came in at the beginning and he stayed all the way to the end. But he did not get any special recognition. He was just, for lack of a better term, he was just your average person. Would you have a problem with Donald Trump coming to your church in that scenario? Let me just see if any of the comments say one way or another. I don't see any commentary as of yet. So I just want to know, again, nothing special. He's just your average dude in the pew. Do you have a problem with that? And I'm going somewhere, so I wouldn't mind your comments so I can kind of know where you are. So I'm going to see what you thought. Because I did have a conversation with a brother this morning, and we didn't see this thing eye to eye. So I just want to give you a scenario and see where you all are. Okay, I got you, Susie. But so would you have any problem with my scenario? Okay. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you so much. I don't have a problem with it. In church, we occasionally pray for civic leaders. Good to go. Okay. Got it. Okay. Perfect. Thank you, Alicia Ward. God's doors are open to all. I love it. I would be okay with that and would expect it from all new members. Perfect. Okay. Now, same scenario. Donald Trump is in the church. No fanfare, nothing like that. However, your pastor now says, by the way, we have Donald J. Trump here. I would like him to come up and we're going to pray for him. So now Donald Trump, or matter of fact, he doesn't bring him up to the pulpit. He comes down in front of the pulpit on ground level with everybody else. And he just asks, Donald Trump, would you come up? We would like to pray for you. And he asked Donald Trump to come up and let's get your elders and your deacons to surround him. And they pray for Donald Trump right there during his pastoral prayer time. Again, he's not praying for supernatural ballots to be cast or any of that foolishness. He's just praying, the Lord bless him, the Lord keep him strong and healthy, and ultimately bring Donald J. Trump to saving faith and trust in Christ. Would you have a problem with that? All right, so let me see a couple of comments. Let me keep up, because Kevin Briggins and I, by the way, it was Kevin Briggins and I that had this conversation this morning. And there was a pastor that did something very similar to my second example. And I was a little conflicted. I've been thinking about it, so I want to hear where you all are. So let's keep going. Retired says I would be okay with that and would expect that for all new visitors. Okay, perfect. So your church does the visitors, they get the handshake. I love it. Okay. Come in, shake hands, sit down, learn, leave. Nope, not a single problem. Saved by faith in Christ alone, separation of church and state. Okay, got you. Now, again, my scenario is Donald Trump just comes to your church and he's just sitting in the pew. He's not politicking. He's not, no fanfare, nothing like that whatsoever. Are you okay with it? What's going on, OFAM? Good to see you, sir. Thank you so much. By the way, thank you so much for becoming a member of Dear Woke Christian. I saw that. Thank you. Good morning, everyone, says Viper83. No, I would not have a problem with that. Okay. Zero problem, says Saved by Faith. Thank you so much. Also, okay, occasionally have moments where we pray for people who are in need of prayer. Got you. Perfect. I got it. So now, what about the asking your pastor comes out of the pulpit? He is on the ground level, if you will. So Donald Trump is not on the stage. He's not getting any prominence at all. And he asked Donald Trump to come up, says, hey, we would like to pray for you. And again, he's doing this, same thing, that you're strong and healthy, that the Lord carry you through this. The Lord gives you wisdom and brings you to saving faith and trust in Jesus Christ. Your elders, your deacons kind of surround him, so on and so forth. Donald Trump does not speak. He does not make any kind of proclamations, anything like that. And then he goes, sits back down, and he stays the rest of the service. It seems like most people would not have a problem with that. Okay. No problem with either scenario. Okay. I think it's fair to say then, for me, because again, I had this conversation with Kevin. By the way, if you don't know, Kevin Briggins is a fantastic content creator, and not only a content creator, but he's a really good friend. So, and I know he's a good friend because he answers the phone when I call him. So you got to be a good person if you answer the phone when I call, because sometimes I call at 6 o'clock in the morning. But anyway, Kevin and I had this conversation this morning, and I think, and he was explaining there was a pastor that was tapped by Secret Service because Donald Trump was going to be in their church. This was a couple years back. And I was really bothered by it. And I think what it is I have a problem with people in the pulpit that are not qualified and not ordained and called by God to be in the pulpit. So speaking from what I call the sacred box, I think that's my problem. That's where I get So that's why I said Donald Trump is on the floor with everybody else, and the pastor comes down there. I think that's what my problem is, Kevin, because I was thinking about what you said, and I think that's my problem, is that I don't want anybody in that box that's not supposed to be in that box. That's it. So I think that's it. All right, let's see. Okay, Kenya said, I'd be ecstatic to see the president. I love it. I'm fine with prayer. That's appropriate, okay? Jesus died for the sins of the world. Absolutely. Thank you, Susie, for dropping Kevin's link to the Off Code podcast. All right. So, and y'all, I'm trying not to laugh because literally retired, I don't know how he did it, but retired is cheating. Retired is looking at my notes. Retired's in my notes because this is the next question I was going to ask. And now retired has ruined it. So now I'm going to have to put you in 0-second timeout. So on that, would Biden get the same treatment in the same church? Not that one is more in need than the other, but both are in need of prayer. I would say, and this is just me speaking on behalf of my church, if Biden came to my church, he would get the same treatment that Trump would have gotten. So let's say this week Trump comes, and let's say he stays for the whole service. This week Trump comes, he's not going to get a shout out from the pulpit. He's not going to get an extra donut during fellowship hour. He might get some more coffee, okay? If Donald Trump comes in and says, hey, I would like some extra coffee, we'd probably make him some more coffee, okay? The deacons are like that. They're good guys. But he's not going to get any special treatment. That being said, the following week, if Joe came in, we would have to treat him the exact same way. He would get the extra coffee. He's not going to get extra donut. He can sit there, listen, learn, sing, pray with everybody else, and get out of here. He's not going to get a shout out from Joe. Now, both of them are probably going to get prayed for from the pulpit during the pastoral prayer. If I feel comfortable, if Secret Service called my pastor Sunday morning and said, hey, President Trump or President Biden would like to come to church, would like to come to service, can they speak to the congregation? They would be told no, they cannot. However, we will pray for them during the pastoral prayer and so on and so forth. And yeah, I feel comfortable that my pastor would do that for both persons. I don't think they would get any special treatment. Now, again, I've opened up the floodgates. If they came to Sunday school, they might be able to get a little bit of shine during Sunday school. That's in the fellowship hall. That's a little bit different. It's a little bit more casual, a little bit more laid back. They might get a little bit of pass there, but inside the sanctuary from the sacred box, they're not going to get any more shine than you or myself would get. So if they wouldn't shout out Susie Q, if they wouldn't shout out Retired or Kenya, then they wouldn't shout out Joe and they wouldn't shout out Trump. Just my little 2 cents. But I will probably ask my pastor this. I'm probably going to ask him this. So, okay. So as long as pastor isn't handing over a single second of time for Trump to stump, his being there is fine. There we go. I can respect that feeling about the pulpit. I've adopted that since listening to you. Thank you, Kenya. Yeah, that's it. And I think that's really the problem. Because I have a problem when I've done the deacon report at my church. I don't like coming in the pulpit, like literally. I don't like it because I know I'm not, I am ordained as a deacon and technically I can do that. I just know that I'm not a pastor and I feel some kind of way. So I don't do that willy nilly. So, yeah, that's just me. Put him in the timeout and now he's out. There we go. We very often pray for Biden and all of our leaders. If Biden came in, he would get the same treatment. There we go. And I think when Kevin and I were talking, it was a pastor, and the the Secret Service called and said, "Hey, Trump will be here," and they brought him up on the stage and they prayed for him. He didn't stump, as far as I know. The pastor didn't, give an endorsement or anything like that. He came up on the stage, the pulpit area. They prayed for him, and I think he left from there. I don't think he stayed for the whole service. To me, I don't think that's a good idea. So that's where I'm at. If he just prayed, if he stayed in the congregation and, everybody stretch your hand toward him, I would have probably been fine with that. I would have stretched my hand toward him. Okay. But coming up on the pulpit, coming up on the stage, to me is a problem. So that's where I think where my consternation came from, because I just don't think that's the right place to be. Retire said, I would say if Biden comes in, I'm watching for lightning. Well, that's true as well. Now that is true as well. Yeah, I think they all should. But I've been in churches where literally elected officials, I've seen churches, I apologize, I'm sorry. I've seen churches where elected officials are given opportunity to basically stump during the worship time, during the church service. And I think we all can agree that is off limits. That is totally out of pocket, even for a phony, false, and fake church. That's inappropriate. So I think as long as the politician, the elected official is not getting attention that's greater than what they would give anybody else. Like, for example, if your church has visitors stand up and everybody, claps for them or whatever like that, or glad hands them, then then that would be appropriate for them to say, we have, President Joe Biden here. If you would just please stand up, wave to everybody. We have President Trump here. If you please stand up, wave to everybody. I think that'd be fine, because that's what they do for everybody. And if, I don't know if you have visitors, stand at the door and everybody shakes hands or whatever, then that would be appropriate, because that's what you're doing for everybody else. But if you're saying, I hope you don't say, we have visitors here, come on up here into the pulpit and talk for 3 minutes. That I think would be out of pocket. And I hope y'all don't do that. That would be wild. Yeah, we got a visitor here. You come on up here and talk. That would be crazy. So that's why. But okay, good. I'm glad to see that I'm not crazy. And I talked to Kevin this morning. He and I just didn't see eye to eye. And I was like, I think I know what it is. It's the pulpit. That's what it is for me. Trump would not get free coffee. We have a coffee bar. The money is for the missionaries we support. Okay, perfect. Okay. Now, look, I don't know. Presbyterians might not have the best potlucks, but let me tell you right now, Presbyterians are about that coffee. We have literal boxes of coffee that come in every 2 weeks, and we go through so much coffee. It's crazy. So, it's a labor of love, but we do support our missionaries through other ways. But I love it. Thank you, Susie. Yes, if you like this, man, hit that like button. It's not going to hurt you. Hit the like button if you would be okay with Trump sitting in your congregation, being taught, prayed for, singing, and so forth. And then hit the like button 3 times if you'd be okay with Biden sitting in your church, being taught, prayed for, singing, and so forth. That's all. Even though you might need to look out for lightning. I'm laughing at Queen Fab. She says, yes, Joe can get the same treatment, but I'm sitting upstairs or in the back. I got you. Just out of the blast zone of the lightning. I see what you did there. I pray for our leaders every day. Now that does not mean I like them. Oh, no. Nor does it mean we condone them, but we just pray for them because these are the people that God has put in place. So we do pray for them. So if you're just jumping in, Trump was at, today's Friday. 2 days ago, Trump was at a church in Arizona doing a rally. And I just wanted to see what you all thought about that. It was on a Wednesday, mind you. So it wasn't on the Lord's Day. It was on a Wednesday. But I still think that's inappropriate. And I do think that churches should be off. I mean, it was a true rally. Trump was stumping in the church. Okay. It wasn't, Trump just came by and waved and gave out some Chick-fil-A sandwiches. No, it was a true political rally inside of a church. I think that's a lap too far. So I just wanted to hear what you all thought. And so we're just kind of chiming in the comment section. So let me know what you think about it. All right, let me see. OFAM has his own fans now. He says, OFAM, it was great to see you call in on the show last night. It was good. Always good to meet people. Always good to meet people. What's DD saying? Good morning, best chat mods and the fearless leader, DWC. Well, good to see you. Thank you. All right, let's see what Kevin says. I have an issue when politicians are given a platform to speak in church or from the pulpit, but I have no issue with them standing up there for prayer with no fanfare. Are you trying to rap, man? Are we getting bars now? We getting bars from Kevin? That's fine. I mean, it's just me. I think it's my own sensitivity to that. So again, like if they just said, we'd like President Trump to come up here. We'd like President Biden to come up here and we'll pray for him. I don't think it's the worst thing ever. I have a problem with it, but I wouldn't, ask God to strike him with lightning or anything like that, or hope he slips coming off the stage. Anything like that. It's just, I don't think he should, but I'm not, again, if he's no fanfare, he's not getting stumped. He's not throwing out, I like Ike buttons or, t-shirts or whatever like that. Not a problem. Now, if he wants to provide the donuts for fellowship hour, I know the kids at our church, by the way, there's a lot of them. The kids at our church, he would get their vote for sure. Let's see what we got. All right. And Queen Fab, this is my summary right here. I've always had an issue if there's somebody, or rather someone in the pulpit, if they're not the pastor or an ordained guest speaker. Yeah, I agree 100%. Thank you so much, Transplanted. Yep, there's Kevin's channel right there. You can check out the Off Code podcast. Thank you so much. Now, Kenya says that she grew up as an AME, African Methodist Episcopalian church in Los Angeles, where Jesse Jackson and Farrakhan preached at my church, all out of order. Yeah. I'm still dumbfounded. The fact that Louis Farrakhan is still alive is proof that God is extremely patient with man. It's amazing to me that Louis Farrakhan is still kicking. It's amazing. He was old when I was a kid, and now look, and he's still kicking. And he still ain't repented. Amazing. And you know what? And Susie's kind of addressing another thing that you see a lot of politicians do. If Trump came, was prayed over, then left, I have a bit of an issue with that. He needs to hear the message. I agree. And a lot of the time when they're stumping in churches, you see that. They come in and then they leave and they actually go somewhere else to do the same thing. So that's why in my scenario, I said that they stayed for the whole service. But I agree with you 100%. Okay. And Queen Fab says, I've been in the churches where acknowledged guests, the pastor will come off the pulpit to greet them. Okay. If that's their MO, that the pastor says, okay, there's all guests stand up, and there's 9 guests that stand up, and the pastor comes by and shakes hands with all of them in the middle of it. Okay, if that's what they do, then that's fine. Then, of course, then if Trump or Biden was in church and they said all the guests stand up and Biden and Trump stand up and the Secret Service stand up and he goes by there and shakes their hands and thanks them, that's what he does. Okay. But if it's something new, like he ain't been doing that, now all of a sudden you're doing that, now I got a problem. But I mean, if that's what he does, I have no problem with that. So, and Saved by Faith alone says, Saved by Faith in Christ alone says, at the end of the day, it's all about God being glorified and souls being restored to Christ, to God. Amen. That's it. Yeah, email management if you have any concerns, questions, or comments. Absolutely. Yeah, I agree with that. I think most of us agree, retired. He says, I have an issue with people coming for prayer, but dodge the message and leave. I agree. Yeah, lots of agreement. I think for the most part, I feel very comfortable, and most of us agree that the only issue is that if they're allowed to stump. And again, when you look at what Trump was doing, it's a bona fide stump. I mean, there's no way around that. It is a political rally. They call it a rally in a church, and that's inappropriate. And same thing when Biden was at, I forgot the name of the church, but Biden was at a church speaking. That was inappropriate. Fani, that was inappropriate. If other people, even if I agree with you ideologically, the church is off limits. That's all. All right, let's see. Lots of good family reunion stuff going on. I pray the will of God. I don't always trust myself. I agree with that 100%. No, and you're right, Texan. It was not during. Oh, Texan says, by the way, I heard the rally was not during the worship service. No, it was on a Wednesday morning. So it wasn't during worship service at all. I do not agree with renting a church building for such seasons, but that is what I heard. No, it was. You're correct. It was on a Wednesday. And so that's what I'm saying. Like, it wasn't technically a Sunday, but I think to the point that you're making right there, renting the church out for a political rally, that one's a little dicey. I think that's where we get that's akin in my mind to making an endorsement. That's akin in my mind of potentially isolating people that you're called to actually reach. Because we're not called to be even a guiding front organization for a political campaign. We're called to be, the church is called to be the place where God's called out ones gather together. So would a person in the community who votes a different way than your church supports, would they want to come to your church, or would they see your church now as, toxic, a toxic place because you supported and rented out your facility to this political candidate? I think that's what I would think. Like, we probably don't want to do that because it's going to create more problems than it solves, in my mind. Lots of good family reunion going on. I can tell Jason grew up in a church where there were those white gloves to pass out communion. The pulpit was sacred. Yeah. The little Baptist church I went to, they did do that. Yeah. I don't remember, but no, the pulpit wasn't sacred though. That was the thing. That when I tell my story about my journey to Morehouse, when I grew up in a suburb of Chicago. When the gentlemen that were at Morehouse came home for the summer, they were allowed to speak from the pulpit and give like an update even. And I remember one of the guys actually preached from the pulpit. He wasn't ordained. He was not called by God. He was just an alumni, or rather a man of Morehouse, and the church opened it up to him. So that wasn't sacred in that regard at all. Where I am now is fairly new within me becoming a Presbyterian and understanding more purposefully and more perfectly what the church's purpose is and what's the purpose of having certain designations within the church. So now that wasn't, oh no, now they did do the gloves for communion. I will say that, but no, this is something new because I didn't see it. But I appreciate the shout out though. I see what you did there. Saved by faith in Christ alone said, if only God were welcome to visit many churches. I like how you did that. I like that. That was a good one. I appreciate y'all. Thank you so much for the great commentary. I feel that it's important that our leaders hear the word of God. It would be nice if they would follow it. We would be a better place. I agree. And sadly, many of our elected officials, especially I'd go like the state level, it is very difficult, I would think, for them to associate with a church. But I've heard of governors being members of churches. So I don't know if that's really true. I mean, like him or not, Jimmy Carter was a Sunday school teacher while he was still president. So, I mean, it was still the same church that he's at now. He was a member of then. So, you got to give him, I can give him some respect for that. But like if you're in DC, if you're, in Washington, I don't expect that you're going to find a good church to be a part of, but I would hope that you would at least try. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Check out the Grace and Peace t-shirts on my merch store. Thank you so much, Transplanted Texan. I appreciate that. Yeah, Wednesday's a lot better than a Sunday morning. Absolutely. Wednesday morning is a lot better than Sunday morning for sure. I'm still just laughing like, yo, like you really rented out somebody's church. And again, like, I'm pretty sure there was some sports arena. I'm pretty sure there was some facility he could have used as well and did the exact same thing. And we wouldn't even be having this conversation. But that's why they did it. When you listen to me at 1.5 speed, it sounds like I'm rapping. That is hilarious. Wednesday mornings are better than Sunday mornings, but hold that in the fellowship hall, not the sanctuary. I got you, but to their defense, Susie, that was a lot of people. They don't have a fellowship hall that big. They don't have it. I mean, the auditorium, I'm not going to call it a sanctuary. The auditorium is meant for all those people. So, yeah. Or just don't have it at the church at all. Just have it at the local sports arena, have it at the local. Now, I wonder if there's like a permit issue and church is a little bit more autonomous. They can rent out a little bit faster than the local sports arena, the local town hall or whatever. So I understand it's a pragmatic issue, but I'm with you. I'm a little bit conflicted with the renting out of the church because I do think it's going to put barriers in the way because, that's the church that political candidate uses, or that's the church that supports that political candidate. I support a different candidate, so I can't go to that church. I can see that being something that happens that doesn't need to happen. But on the other hand, says Retire, some in that rally were reached just by being in the church. I mean, there's that as well. Like maybe they say, hey, I've never been in this church. Wow, this is a nice facility. Maybe I'll come check them out on Sunday. There you go. I mean, it could be a double-edged sword. Is it a double-edged sword? It could be a unforeseen benefit of having a rally at the church was that it's free publicity for the church. Now, I hate using it like that because that sounds like you're marketing and it sounds like you're advertising and not relying on God bringing the people to the church. But doing a little bit of research on the church, that's probably what they were thinking. I mean, it is what it is. My church wouldn't use that as, let's have the governor come and, because then like what would stop people from actually using that as a means if that be the case? If you knew, I'm going to have Mayor Jason come to my church, and if he stays there the whole time, I'm going to rent out my church to Mayor Jason because he's doing a political rally, and that's going to get a ton of more eyes on my church. And we're in the middle of this building campaign, or we're in the middle of trying to build a wing on the church, or whatever. That's going to be more people coming. That could actually become a hustle that people might use. I would hope that that's not what they were doing, but yeah, that would be problematic. Okay, so Susie says, missionary updates get Wednesday evening during dinner at some point between 6 and 7. Bible study starts at 7. There we go. I love it. Our missionaries come on during Sunday school, and they're allowed to, they come during Sunday school, and our missionaries are usually ordained pastors or have been ordained pastors. So they might speak on Sunday evenings, but, no, I like that. That's a good format. In Alabama, the governor better be a part of a church. Okay, I like it. Sorry I'm late, Terry says. I watched the replay, DWC. I'm lost in this conversation. Okay, well, we were having a conversation, and not to be too much longer, but we were talking about Trump was at a particular church in Arizona. He did a rally at the church 2 days ago, Wednesday. And we were just discussing whether that was appropriate. And this was a true rally. There was the only reason they opened up the church was for Trump and for this rally. And we were discussing whether it was appropriate. And then we started coming up with other scenarios, like what if he came to church on Sunday and just sat in the congregation and was there the whole service from beginning to end? Would your church be okay with that? What if your pastor prayed for him, but he didn't get into the pulpit? Those kind of things, just giving some what if scenarios just to see what people thought. So, but no, I appreciate you checking it out. Replay. Thank you. Shout out to Communion Sunday. That seems like it was only Sunday where the true worship and Bible-based teaching took place. You know what? That's sad and probably more true than false. Oh, fam says, I agree, DWC. From what I understand, Trump is not even a believer. The pulpit isn't the mean. I'm sorry. The pulpit means something. I agree 100%. Good conversation back and forth. Lots of good back and forth conversation. I always enjoy checking out what you all are talking about with one another. So shout out to you all. I grew up in a church, says Brian Leffler. I grew up in a church and I see no problem. Quit judging people. Now, if he was like Fonnie in church, that's different. Okay. Well, if you go back and watch, Brian, Trump did an actual rally in the church. So that was my question. And I'm not judging. I just said it wasn't appropriate for the church to do that. If you feel like that is judging, okay, then that is your opinion. I was only saying Trump did a true rally in the church. And I have to be consistent because I did say during one of my Fonnie videos, if Trump did a rally in the church, it would be inappropriate. And lo and behold, Trump did a rally in the church. So I have to be consistent and at least call it out. That's it. And I didn't condemn him. I just said I don't think it's appropriate to do that. But again, if you think I'm wrong, let me know. Let me know. Don't let me walk around here and be out of line. Well, Viper 83, I'm glad to have you, sir. Thank you so much for being a part of the chat. You all make this thing a great experience, and I really do appreciate all of y'all. No, and on the other hand, I understand he probably wasn't giving a sermon. No, he was just a political rally. I mean, and it just seemed it does seem like it's off-putting, and I just wonder, does that put the church in a position to tacitly block people that maybe would be interested in finding out what this church is about? Because they say, oh, that's the church. Because he's been there before. Trump has been at this church before. And so this is not the first time. And the first time I saw him, this was during a Sunday worship service. He was on the stage, he was prayed for, and he did bolt out afterwards. But does that, in the community, does that like, oh, that's a Trump church, or, oh, that's that Biden church? Like, to me, I just think that might create more problems than it solves at the end of the day. We limit the use of our church building to purpose of spreading the gospel, worship Bible studies, and avoid these conflicts. When we gather, it is for glorifying our God and with no confusion. I agree. Sorry about that. I agree 100%. Is this the Trump Bible? The Lee Greenwood Bible? Is that the Trump Bible? The Trump Bible, as it was affectionately called? I did a video on it, but I'll talk about it real quick. Let me see. Let me double check, make sure that's what we're talking about. Oh, that's the Trump Bible. It's inappropriate. I tried to give them a little bit of grace when I first heard about it. Where's your comment right here? I tried to give them a little bit of grace when I first heard about it, because I said, if the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, and I forgot what other piece of American documentation was added to it, if those were like a separate book, and you got the Bibles, like for example, let's say you got the Bible, and then I'll just use this little thing. All right, and then you got the Bible, and then you get like a separate book with the Constitution, Bill of Rights, Declaration of Independence, Pledge of Allegiance, all that kind of stuff. You have a separate book. That I would have been okay with that. And I think most people that do, like, there's YouTube channels that do Bible reviews, and I've talked to some of them about it. But the thing was, it was actually a part of the Bible. And that's where I feel like, yeah, that's a lap too far. Like you literally are technically you're adding to the Bible. And that was a problem for me. So that's why I didn't think, that wasn't been it. I know some people were picking on like the quality of the writing. The quality of the stitching, and whether it was faux leather versus real leather. That's beside the point. It's the contents of the book. You actually added the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, the Pledge of Allegiance, all these things, Declaration of Independence. You added them into the Bible as if they were on par with the Bible. And that's, to me, that would have been a problem. So that was my big issue with that. I prefer to keep the church for the Lord and maybe a few bake sales and quilting bees. Do they still do that? That is so funny, because Grammy party, my mom is actually going to a quilting conference today. Or not, I'm sorry, a quilting, I don't know, not a conference. What is this? Anyway, it's over at the local mall, and it's just a lot of quilting, whatevers. Because she wanted to get into quilting. I don't know if she's ever going to do it. She keeps talking about it, but who knows? Maybe she will. Maybe I'll buy her a quilting sewing machine. I don't know. All right, let's see. Yeah, this is probably what they're thinking, Susie. Historically, the church was the largest building and made large enough for the whole town to fit. Very often, community-wide political assemblies were held in the church, just not during preaching. And I agree. And if we were in that time where the largest building in our village, the largest building in town was the local church, I could get down with it. But now I think we got a lot more options than that. And it might have just been something simple as, you know what? They're going to let us use this building free of charge. They're going to let us use this building for a smaller fee. We'll have to get building permits, blah, 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 blah. Because the church has already got, the fire marshal code. They've already done a lot of that stuff. So versus like a basketball arena that changes and you have to get them all retrofitted with new permits every time you do it. To me, I think the church probably was easier to do. And I'm not mad about it. I just got to be consistent. That's all. Really? A quilting guild and B? Really? Okay, well, maybe I'll connect you with Grammy Party. Y'all can talk about it, because she's literally at some quilting convention thing right now, probably. Because she asked me, does she need to pick up my daughter from Vacation Bible School? Amazing. All right. Is Lee Greenwood's patriotism morphed into a quasi-religion with the Trump Bible, or is it just a money move? I don't know much about Lee Greenwood. I don't think the Bible really is that. I don't think it's going to, unless you're getting the Bible for like printed for like 10 cents. I don't know how you're making money off of it. It does seem a little crass. It does seem a little out of line. So I'm not a big fan of that at all. And I'm looking, man, it's on sale on eBay and people are trying to make money off this thing. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of it. But I wasn't a fan of the Left Behind Bible or all these movie-themed Bibles, these Christian movie-themed Bibles or anything of that nature. I was never a fan of those. So if that is the case, I mean, y'all have seen like the Chosen Bible or the Left Behind series Bible, this, that, and the other. I've never been a fan of themed Bibles like that. So I'm give a little bit of grace for like kids' Bibles. That makes sense. But for an adult to have the God's Chosen Warrior Bible, I'm not rocking with that. So I don't know. I'm going to go with it is probably just a money move, but because I don't want to assume somebody is like worshiping Trump. I don't think that's fair for me to do that without knowing. So I'm not trying to say or turning into a religion. But I will say, I don't think it was in good taste and whatnot like that. So that's my little 2 cents. I don't like this book sitting back here. I didn't realize it was sitting up there like that. I gotta put it on the floor. Because I don't want it to sit back there. It looks weird. I don't like it. I'm trying to keep my bookshelf at least some degree of normal. I hate taking books out of the place. All right, let's put it back. All right, now. All right, there goes my OCD behind me. It's taken care of. All right, y'all, you are amazing. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. I have not heard back from my guest about tonight's possible show. My goal was to have a couple of legal experts come on. Hopefully they'll still get back with me. Let me just check while I'm here. Hopefully they'll get back to me and say they can come on so we can have some guests on the show tonight and just talk about some legal things that would that you all are on, that's on your minds. I asked them if they would come on and just answer questions from the audience. So it wouldn't be a lot of me talking, it'd be a lot of them answering your questions, but I haven't heard back. So I am going to curb my enthusiasm and excitement for the time being. Yeah, neither have gotten back yet, but it's okay. Yeah, and you've seen them, the Left Behind Bible and Christian movie themed Bibles. I just think those are not really helpful in my opinion. And they're not helpful because if you go to like your local thrift store or secondhand bookstore, you'll see tons of them. And like, that's how you know they weren't really helpful, because it just lasts for as long as the movie is hot. It lasts as long as that theme is popping, like the Left Behind theme. But now that nobody's doing that, those books and those study materials and compendiums and all this other stuff, Bibles, are just, in your local thrift store and your local Goodwill, whatever. But what is Lady Dear Will Christian texting me about? Oh, I love that girl. Today is National Donut Day. What? I don't need a donut. I don't need no donuts, trust me. It is what it is. Everybody, I appreciate y'all so much. Thank you so much for liking the video. Thank you for commenting and let me know what you think. Feel free to comment down in the comments below if you think maybe my scenario might not be the best, or you think that, no, we shouldn't let anybody come into church whatsoever. I'd love to hear what you think. I will let you all know as soon as I hear back if I can have a guest on tonight. Otherwise, we might do a late night show and just, chop it up. I'm sure there's some stuff in the traps, so I got to check the traps anyway. But before I do that, I got to go take President Firstborn driving. So we're going to drive way up north, up the highway, and then drive all the way back and go pick her sister up from Vacation Bible School. So I'm going to get ready to do that. I appreciate all of y'all. Thank you, every one of you that liked the video, that commented. Even it looks like 35 of you all liked it. I had 42 that are watching currently. I appreciate you. Thank you for all that you all do, because you guys make this so much fun. You add so much value to it, and I really do appreciate y'all. So looking forward to hopefully doing this again with you all this evening. So until then, everybody, grace and peace. Take care.